p.m. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you all had great holidays. Seems like a lot of people have been getting the information or the other literature that's being passed around, so glad to hear that. At least we know we got some people here. I had a very large agenda, just to give you all kind of a synopsis of it real quick before I jump into it. I'd like to talk about the new year and the push to March. I kind of work in a timeline, you know. I think quarters are good. That's where I've always worked, is in a quarter period. We need, at the present moment, we need lawn care, which we've been working on the bids. We have been discussing insurance, which is kind of going to be a negative this evening. A point of contact for the homeowners, you know, someone that you all can call in the community or email in the community, as well as talk about the budget and what our budget is going to look like for us for fiscal year or calendar year 2013. I am also wanting to move into some social ideals. I would like to see that we have some interaction in the community. Also, there's been newsletters that have gone out as far from the board that, you know, sometimes they're pretty, you know, continuous, and sometimes they don't show up, you know, every quarter or every couple of months. I'd like to make sure that we get a newsletter out once a quarter. Gives everybody an idea of what we're talking about, what's going on, and give everyone an idea of what kind of projects or what kind of things we have to foresee in the future. I'm going to take a secretary's report, basically talking about the communication, point of contact. I've been looking into information kiosks, basically putting a flyer up, not necessarily on the back of or posted to our mailboxes, but maybe for someone who has child care or has something they would like to sell or a facility they would like to rent out, something along those lines. You know, that way people are informed about what's going on in the community. Also, I'd like to give Les a few moments to tell us what he is doing with Advantage and what the transition has been like over the last couple of weeks. Everyone knows that we pretty much went dormant from, you know, the 23rd of December until about January 2nd. I think it's fair for everyone to say, hey, I don't plan on working, so why do I expect my management company to try to toss coins and work with another one that's taking vacation as well? Then we're going to move into a treasurer's report. I can pretty much wrap this up. We are getting a transition. Our treasurer's report, the most up-to-date one that any board member has or prior board member has, is around the August time frame. So until Mr. Leshai can get his accounting department to look at what he is dealing with, I cannot give you an accurate idea of what is on our financials.
Right, I do have, as of 11:30, I have just one sheet and it doesn't tell our total, so.
Okay.
Analysis.
We'll hold off until we can compare.
Sounds good.
Also, I would like to talk about, when I talk about treasurer reports, I'd like to talk about what we are doing in our community and dealing with the master association that ourselves, the villas, and the homes contribute. We are a big benefactor in the master association. However, you know, me only being here 2 years as a resident, I'm not seeing where what we're contributing to is being returned back to us. Webmaster's report, I'll give that to Mr. Schroeder. He's got a little information for us. And then I would like to move into an executive session where everyone can pretty much be dismissed other than the board members.
Yeah, I have homeowners open for?
Yeah, I'm sorry. will have an open forum. Also, one thing is volunteer. You know, people want to be involved in what, you know, I do, what he does, and these two ladies do. I have no problem if someone wants to contribute. This is a volunteer thing. This isn't a 9-to-5, you know, business. So if you want to volunteer in some aspect, you're more than welcome. There are some things that you can be privy to as a volunteer. However, when it comes to the financial side of the house and talking about individual homeowners and things, it's kind of one of those things that is, you know, our business to discuss, along with an attorney. So, moving on, I would
Can I
like...
ask you a question before you get started?
Yes, ma'am.
There's a document that was sent out by Scott and Rose as a demand letter, and only came to me via one of the people. There are 5 past board members notated in this document. It says it's on demand and a civil procedure on behalf of the Remington homeowners and their proxies. So I'm wondering if,
This is what you're talking about?
yeah,
Okay.
who is that coming from? Who is paying for it? And who's the attorney on record for the document?
All right. There is no attorney on record.
So it's basically just Scott and Rose that have sent this out on their own?
Absolutely.
Who's paying for it?
No one is paying for it from
But
the
if we go
association at the
It would
present
be
moment.
billed to the association, is that correct?
I'm sorry?
If you go forward and there's attorney fees, it will be billed to the association, is that correct?
That is an incorrect statement.
And how so?
The board has to approve for something like this to move forward. When this was given to us, they follow the procedure that is written in the statute that we had to be notified. Just because we are notified does not mean that we support or do not support this documentation. If you got it,
Will you be
there's
supporting-
nothing wrong with it.
Will you be supporting it?
We're going to discuss that a little bit later.
In open forum or executive session?
No, open forum.
Okay.
Okay.
I find it a little bit odd, and I'll just make my comment and I'll be quiet, that now that there are 3 new board members, short one of 5 that there are supposed to be, and 5 board members that have either resigned or didn't run again, are being held accountable for bogus actions is a little bit disconcerting to most of us in this room, and I don't think I'm speaking only for those listed in the document.
And I understand where you're coming from, and
I also find it disconcerting that I'm listed in the document and I had to get it from a third party. It should have been delivered to each and every person that was in the document, and that wasn't the case.
Now you understand that this is not an official document.
Oh, I understand that very clearly.
Okay, so it's no different than a lot of the other mailing that goes out. There's nothing official about this. For individuals that are concerned about it, it's an 8x11 sheet of paper that has...
But you have encouraged other board members to sign it, have you not, Frank?
No, I have not encouraged other board members to sign this. There's nothing for me to sign or other board members to sign.
There's a page at the end of that document with 3 board member signatures open to sign. For second and...
That is if we support the document that
You're
was...
talking in riddles here, Frank. Are you going to support it?
It says motion to proceed with the above legal actions on behalf of the association.
So are you supporting that? Are you going to sign this?
I just said a few moments ago that I will get to this later on.
Perhaps you could move it up in the agenda.
And then I'll get to it, okay? I understand you don't want to be. All right, so for those of you all that are not continuous attendees, as Ms. Zona pointed out, you know, there are 3 somewhat new members. I've been on here since the election. Scott has been on here since the election. Recently, we've had 3 members resign. All
Are you
within
going to elect a 5th member?
moving forward.
Is that on the agenda?
That
Or-
is on the agenda.
I didn't. Okay.
We did have 3 members resign during the month of December. If you would like information about what is going on, I'm trying to be as open source as possible.
Transparency.
Please come to the source. And unlike Ms. Zona, get something from a third party. If you do receive a mailing from an individual in the community, you receive a mailing from an individual in the community. Newsletters, emails, something of that nature, I will sign, and I will post with my handwritten signature in an email or newsletter, so everyone can know that it is valid. Yeah, I feel that's correct, and I feel that way it protects anybody from having any type of concern. All right, moving on. December 18th was the last meeting. Therefore, we do have minutes that need to be approved.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do you have a copy of the new ones? Because I never got a
I
copy of
do.
those.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, I second.
All in favor?
Can I just have 1 second,
Give 'em-
just to read this real quick here? I agree.
Okay. Minutes submitted and approved.
All right. Budget review of landscaping. We have recently received 2 landscaping bids. And Dreams Granted has recently submitted a receipt for the grub treatment that was done back, and I want to say in October. I do not have the receipt on hand at the moment. Les, have you received that?
I'm sorry,
Have you received a receipt from Dreams Granted for grub treatment?
no, I have not.
Okay.
Currently, all of the billing and invoicing is still going to PSI,
Okay.
which is then being forwarded to us.
Okay.
There is of course, transition time, delay, and so forth. So no, I've not received that.
All right, thank you.
And it's possible that it could be in the files that I picked up tonight.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, I know when I spoke to Doug Lavernier, one of the guys that helps manage Dreams Granted, he said that it was submitted, so that you may very well be right. With the 2 bids that we have, I know that you all only had an opportunity to review one of them, or have you all reviewed both of them?
I agree both.
Okay. Are you all comfortable with discussing just 2 bids, or do you want to move forward with this, with getting a third, which I think is a very good position considering what we have read with the introductory package from Valley. Yes, Valley Crest.
I'd like to see what they would give us for both. I mean, we might as well, because these 2 are pretty close.
Yeah, they really are. The price is
Even though I think Dreams Granted does offer a lot more, and they're very detailed in exactly what they will offer, which is quite nice.
And we have had experience with Dreams Granted. I
Yes.
think they've done a very good job.
Just to give you all an idea, Dreams Granted kind of came in at the end of the season for us. They're the ones that did the sod removal, topsoil, and planted and thatched areas for us. They also subcontracted a corporation to come in and do their grub treatment. And they subcontract pesticides because that's an insurance situation that some businesses can't afford to hold on to. You know, if you have the business, you make the profit to pay your insurance. If you don't have that business, it's one of those things to sit back on. Dreams Granted has some very competitive prices. They are currently our snow removal contract, and fortunately, we haven't had any snow for the year. They were very negotiable and very cooperative when we asked them to give us a bid. We spoke with them on a couple of occasions and says, hey, could you do this, could you do that, to tailor the bid to our liking. I was satisfied with what we received from them, and it was actually a pretty substantial lower snow removal bid than what we have gotten in recent years. So, Dreams Granted does hold a little bit of weight in our community. As anybody currently dissatisfied with what they did in September, October timeframe? Is anybody open for opinions?
They didn't do any of the regular maintenance, so You know, they're there for a one-time,
Yeah, it was pretty much a one-time deal.
they're not your regular maintenance anyway, so
Right.
you shouldn't make a judgment on that unless they
Well,
suffer
I-
out of performance.
You know, it cooled off pretty quick after they seeded, and I don't know how many homeowners have been able to actually pay attention to what they did. They went through the whole community and started working on the curb appeal. You know, we had a lot of sod that never took root and died out pretty quickly. So we wanted to try to bring grass back that was going to, you know, have some finesse to it. Okay, so we will table.
Can I ask one quick
Yes,
question
ma'am.
first? Is there any way we can take, Dreams Granted really gave us a very detailed
Mhm.
listing here. Is there any way we can take this and just go and say this is a quote that we have, an estimate we've received from somebody else? Can each company give us, you know, not include the pricing, but can each company give us something just like this with exactly every single thing so we can really compare apples to apples?
Yeah, I don't see why.
Yeah, but
I
these
got,
are all
I got a
optional.
quick question, is
No,
you really
not.
should have a scope sheet,
Right.
so that everybody's doing the same thing. Don't give somebody's, with somebody's name on it to somebody else,
Right.
because that's just not
Exactly.
gonna spur competition, so.
Right.
Make up take what you like out of that, make
Yeah,
a
just-
blank
just
form,
build a different one.
and send it to all three and say, price this.
Yep, and that's what, exactly what I was thinking.
And
we
you gotta
should do
get a
too.
third one, two isn't enough.
No, we actually do have two already,
These two are too close.
and then we have a third company that we have been presented with, and so we're going to go for 3 different companies.
Okay.
Okay.
We do have some debts, as I brought up. Once we start to see the financials, we'll cross the bridge on those debts. Next meeting. By that point, we should have plenty of receipts and everything that needs to be approved. My next piece of the agenda is appointing a new board member. We did have 2 individuals that were adamant about wanting to be on the board. Without further ado, I'd like to give Mr. John Schroeder and Mark Ziegler a few moments to tell us about themselves. Maybe kind of get a idea of what the homeowners like, and then we'll have a vote as far as the board goes. And I'll be the last vote in the event that we are, you know, because they're all for
We
us.
do have to also take from the floor, 'cause that's.
Correct, and that's absolutely right. And we do also have to take from the floor as well. So,
And we
John?
have proxies like you used to get Margaret on, so. If it is done. We do have proxies, because that's what happened with Margaret.
John, would you like to, by all means?
I've been in the community for about 4 years. I'm been a Cub Scout leader for about 5 years. So I'm very familiar with working on a board, working on a committee, event planning. Previous jobs, I've been on the board, working on going to the monthly meetings, being a decision maker. My profession is IT. That's pretty much it. I just, I've been quite involved since July with what's going on with the community, and my main goal is to get a board that actually works together and start building a community.
Thanks, John. Mark?
All right. Well, John's my neighbor, for starters. We rode together, so. Just a little bit background for me. I consult for 5 associations downtown in the city. So I do a lot of their sitting in front of the boards and kind of helping how things are supposed to be done by the insurance companies. My field is disaster restoration work. So all I do is disasters, fire, floods, mold, asbestos, lead. I'm certified pretty much, I'm a master restorer, which means I'm certified in lead, mold, and everything. My main field though is I'm a biotechnician, which means I work for the coroner's office for DuPage, Kane, Lake, and Grundy, and I do cleanups after people perish. That's my main field. I just want to get on, well, I'd like to be on the board to kind of bring a change. I'm used to working with associations all day long. That's what I do for floods and fires. I know roughly how to read and help the insurer get what they need from the insurance company and vice versa. So it's kind of, I just come from a different field. It's more building, insurance, and making sure that my townhome doesn't burn down or flood and I can get it fixed again. Pretty much with nothing on my pocket. But my main goal is, in general, for everybody, is to make sure our properties are nice. When you drive up and you see our, because I'm one of the front units when you first pull in. And I just want to make sure when people pull in, they like what they see. So, either way, me and John will fight on the way home.
We'll put up with that.
Is anyone from the floor would like to run for the open position? Going once, twice? Okay. Does anybody have any behalfs that they'd like to speak upon for John? Once? Anybody have any behalfs they'd like to speak?
Well, I want to understand the procedure. So the first, this happened last meeting. So the first, there's options, right? The first is an open meeting with the vote. Is that correct, or is it a board vote? I just want to understand, and for people that weren't here that
It's a board vote. The reason we did what we did with the proxies was we had a split board.
then you don't need to ask us then. Then you don't need to ask us.
We'd like to, right, we don't have to ask.
Okay, then
But
have a
it was
vote
a
then.
2 and 2
for you.
thing, and that's what the proxy did. It voted that tie.
Then you don't need to ask us.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say? Once? Moving forward. Mark, I'll let you go first. As far as who you would like to appoint.
I think that with Mark's experience, and especially with insurance and everything, I think we do need that on the board, and I'd like to vote for him.
Scott?
Mark.
Susan?
I'd like to vote for Mark as well. I feel he has a good construction experience, background, and from what I've heard, he's always brought a lot of good information to the meetings. So I vote for Mark.
Okay. That's a unanimous vote. Moving forward.
Come on up, Mark.
Oh, is there one?
I got squeezed in.
Here. We have like a, what they do that, it's college.
So, as you can see, well,
You get a tiny section.
I know this.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Can I make one real quick motion?
Motion or?
Just real simple one. Can we please, I'd like to make a motion that there are no cell phones used by board members during meetings, no texting, no having your phones on or anything else. That's all.
All right.
Do we have a second though?
Sure, second that.
Everybody in agreement?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Make sure you tell Rose that.
Now that we do have a board with 5 and 3 new members, a lot of people are probably wondering what the role of each board member is. At this moment, I would like to align positions, and I do feel that qualifications are important. As 4 of us were part of the initial election, I feel that everyone here knows about, somewhat of our history. I'm comfortable at saying that I'm confident that Margaret would be a perfect treasurer for us. However, she's been kind of hands tied behind her back during this transition. Do you disagree with being the treasurer?
Amanda?
I am comfortable with with Scott's recording. And I feel that his position he's held for a little over, our term. So Scott, are you comfortable with your position?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Susan, I know this is your first actual board meeting, and Mark, this is officially your first board meeting. Do either one of you all have a problem in the absence of myself taking the helm in the director's positions? We do have 2 directors' positions. There is not a VP position stated according to the state registration, I believe is what they call it.
Well, you do have the ability to have a VP according to your basic.
Correct.
Operation, there is a VP.
Yeah.
Yes, no, there it is, you're absolutely right. Maybe we can move forward, I think comfortably, this way it gives you the opportunity to kind of feel the waters a little bit and see what your comfortability is. If you think that you can handle the task that we all had, and you're comfortable with doing this for them, give you the opportunity to step up and take charge or fall back. That's kind of why I thought director's spots would be valid positions. How you feel with that?
That's fine.
Okay.
I got no issues.
All right. Motion, position set.
So Frank, you're gonna remain your president though?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll second.
Yep. I also agree. Yep. Okay.
All right. So, let's go to this derivative action, because I know this is why about a third of you all are here. Back around Christmas time, I sent an email out addressing this to the board members. And since this did come from Scott and his other hat, I feel that it is something that we do need some type of legal representation for before I can make an honest decision as far as the association assisting this in any way.
But we have no legal representation.
We do not have any legal representation, and that's
They,
that is one of the things that.
terminated our contract.
Okay. They did turn, there's no, ethically, you cannot point fingers as far as who the individuals are. That is a concern, and I am looking into attorneys. Mr. Shy has given us a list of attorneys. I'm not saying that I personally am pursuing this derivative action, is what it's called, or demand letter. And I cannot speak on behalf of the rest of the board. I can tell you that when the next meeting that this comes up, and we do have some type of an attorney that can give us a legal insight on this, I will let everyone know that this is going to be on the agenda.
And how many hours is that going to take out, billable hours to the association?
He doesn't know that yet.
I have no, and it's,
At
and
$250
Yeah, but if
an
you know
hour.
that, if you know that, then everybody knows that.
KSN, from the research that I've been doing with what we've been given, KSN was a very reasonable law firm. However, we do live in the Chicago area, and there are law firms on every corner. So finding one attorney or one law firm to represent the association, and then another attorney to do one job, and another, I think as being a representative of the community, you're giving myself and the 5 of us, or we will say the 4 of us, the opportunity to find someone that can represent this and decipher this in a way that I understand it, because I read it and I see a lot, but I don't know.
You're not a lawyer.
Exactly. I can't viably tell you what is in this and if it's ethically or held by statutes. It could, and it's like I told this owner earlier. As far as I'm concerned right now, it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Okay, and there's no harm to anyone in this room or any homeowner or the individuals that are named on it. Okay.
But if they're suing past board members on their own, why is our association, unless we're trying to protect our board for future, you know, things, because why would we pursue their viewpoint? I mean, I hope that's not the way you're going.
No, you're absolutely right. The way, okay.
I mean, because anybody can just say, hey, I want to sue the board, and
And-
we're going to help you do it?
And that's no different than an individual getting a cup of coffee at McDonald's.
Right.
What protects that individual? Or the individual that goes to McDonald's and orders 10 Big Macs a week and gains 50 pounds. There's no protection in that.
Well, I just
So-
don't think that we should be helping them.
I'm not saying that we are helping them. I'm saying the reason why I'm looking for legal representation, so that way they can legally tell me what is in this documentation, and tell me what is factual and what is circumstantial.
So here's what I think is fair then. So if the, let's say we pay the fees for having somebody to look at it,
Mhm.
and they say it's bullshit, they're responsible for the fees.
You can't do that.
What do you mean?
All right,
This is
listen,
for-
It's not our
Your
representation. I
association.
didn't ask anybody to pursue this,
Yeah.
right?
You're right. This is no different than having any other attorney. If KSN was still representing us, we would send KSN the same.
Right, no,
They're
that's-
suing KSN too.
His
Okay.
fiduciary duty right now is to figure out what. he
Yeah,
can do.
figure out what it is.
So,
That's what his duty is right now, that's why we.
That's fine.
elected the president.
I'm all
I
for
didn't-
that, as long as we're not spending the association's money to figure it out.
okay, and I can agree with you. I support that opinion. I don't want to pay out of pocket. We spent $7,000 last year that I can't find in minutes from last year's meetings to get rid of it. Did you have a say-so in that $7,000 spent?
To get rid of who?
To get rid of Scott?
Remember all that last year, folks?
Scott.
That was to get rid
I'm
of,
pretty sure that was to get rid of Penny, Nancy, and myself.
right.
It
Well,
was.
That's what I-
It wasn't Scott.
If
it
you
was
want to
the
be
other
clear
way.
about it.
Okay.
Yeah, those two.
We do have it
We already
on.
spent $7,000 on that, and now we're gonna spend more.
Well, one thing that I would like to suggest, maybe we can do is just put a cap on the amount that we do pay an attorney to review this.
It's not, we don't even know who's gonna represent us right now, so that's not
I
even.
mean, just at least put a certain dollar.
Why do we need to be represented? Let them pay for their own lawyers, and then when they sue you guys, then you do it, but don't let him have money to.
No, this isn't giving Scott any money. This is not,
But Scott gave you that, right?
yeah,
And he said, hey, look this over, and now we gotta get
It's
a lawyer
not-
to look it over.
we, by the statute that they follow, as part of the protocol, they have to give you this and say, hey, listen, we're suing you.
Okay.
But
So, okay.
they're not suing our homeowners association, are they?
It's the individual's named in it. It does not say Towns of Remington.
If you were being sued, you'd be served with papers, you'd know about it.
Yeah, and I would be concerned if I was one of those people, which I'm
There
not.
wasn't.
But let them go through with it, let Scott and Rose go through with it,
Right.
and then when they say, hey, show up to court, then I'll get a lawyer.
Thank
Exactly.
you, thank you.
Right.
But then,
So does everyone here pretty much understand what I'm trying to say? Let me find some legal representation before we move forward with this. There's no timeline on this. I requested in writing, hey, we need more time in this. I wasn't gonna waste
You
my holiday
requested it
with
of
my.
whom?
Huh?
You requested more time from whom?
From Scott and Rose. Okay? They could move forward with this. If they have an attorney, that's on them.
But I don't understand, if they're suing these people, why are you involved, and why are you behind it?
Because I'm the president. And
I know,
it
but
is
then-
handed to me, and I have to represent the association. They're suing members of the past association.
Okay,
Yeah, I think
I understand that.
it's important
but-
to say that because they're past board members, if they're being sued for something they did while they're on the board,
Right.
the board should represent.
But I have
people.
all these emails indicating both Scott and Frank in a lot of these so-called charges. So if anything goes forward,
Then you have
I
proof
would-
to
Then
present
yes,
to the board.
you can bring that to
I
court.
I have it.
Right, to
Yeah,
court,
when
when you have to go to
Okay.
court for it. That's
I'm-
when you
I'm
present
fine
it
with
as
that.
evidence.
Well, yeah, but we shouldn't have to pay for the attorneys to take it.
You're right.
drop it.
Because, yeah,
Okay.
if you
So
want
is
to
it-
do that on your own.
But we would pay for the past board members a representation for things they did while they're on the board, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
should represent the past board members.
Okay.
But you have to understand that under the declaration, we, the board members, the directors and officers are covered for $2 million, $1 million or $2 million. So you can sue us, you know, and the only reason you can go forward is for theft or any
Fraud.
type of fraud,
Or
okay?
illegal activity.
And I would,
All board members are indemnified
right,
against all of these charges unless it can be proven that it was
I
intentional
need
fraud
exact
and/or
days,
illegal.
times, and actions that were
That's gonna be
being
decided by a
sued.
court. So
The
if
thing
they- if
is,
they
that
go
this
forward
This
and-
document
This
does not
document is
have.
generalities.
I'm just saying, it's gonna be decided by a court if they go forward with it. So let's
Okay.
stop bickering about it.
Thank you, thank you. Enough said.
No, I don't think it is. Do you want to pay for
I would like to say something.
Scott's?
I absolutely understand what, you know, you wanting legal representation, but did you not, did you not, on 2 separate occasions, both in person and on the phone with me, say that you will absolutely not sign that?
I don't have to sign it.
But
At
did you,
this-
I'm
at this
asking you if you
moment.
said that,
I haven't given this
regardless
enough
of
time.
legal representation.
You what?
Regardless of legal representation, did you not say that you will absolutely not sign it?
I will not sign this up until the point that we know what's on here.
He's not gonna sign it unless a lawyer's telling him that it's a good idea to sign it.
If I sign this right now, without an attorney representing us, it's basically saying, here, take what we got and run with it. It's not even protecting me, that's not protecting me. It goes to the state at that point. Then the state is the one that will represent us. I don't want the state involved, okay? So what I'm asking for you all to understand is let us find legal representation before this is ever brought up again. And by that point, I'm hoping, between conversation with an attorney, that nothing ever comes to this. And I would imagine that it won't. So for all of you that are here for this, you're more than welcome to leave, because I have nothing else to say about this derivative action.
Well, the only thing is that we want to report next meeting
Mhm.
of where
I
it is
will.
and what's been done.
I will.
So, because it's not just sitting around and it gets thrown in the garbage or it gets run with or whatever.
You already said that it's gonna
You're
happen.
absolutely right. You're absolutely
Or
right.
hanging over everybody's head like an axe.
And as I explained at the beginning of the meeting, there's nothing here for anyone to worry about. This is no different than me writing
You're
a
accusing
document.
me of stealing thousands of dollars. What do you mean there's nothing I need to worry about?
Well, he didn't do
Is
it.
it, can I prove that? Can I prove that?
Scott,
Can I prove that?
Scott and Rose
Okay.
accused me.
Can I prove that?
No,
I
because
can't
he
prove
can't
that.
either, so.
Okay, so
Then why is there a discussion?
I don't understand why, if you can't be validated in any of this,
What you worrying about?
Yeah, what are you worried about?
closed, done, derivative action.
Next.
All right,
Should have sued these people, they volunteered their time.
Thank
Thank
you.
This is wrong.
Thank
Agreed.
you.
We all. Guys, it's a pain in the ass.
Take
Thank you.
respectable people and doing
If
this.
you open forum later, let's move on.
Yes, I'll see what
all
happens.
right. Okay, so, as I brought up treasurer's report, I know that you have received some paperwork. However, we currently do not have accurate financials
Exactly.
due to the transition.
Exactly.
So we're comfortable with saying that once we get a valid okay from Advantage, we will move forward with the next meeting and discussing the financials.
Sounds perfect.
Okay.
And just so you'll have a better timeline, you have November financials, we should have December closeout financials by the 3rd week of January.
Okay.
And I was sent a copy of the November financials. Les, are those accurate?
I
as far as
only
what
got
you-
them a couple of days ago.
Oh, so did I, okay. All right, that's what I was wondering.
Okay.
All right.
I just have one question on the treasury part. If, has the transitional part about association dues and fees been worked out? Is this, 'cause I saw that the things were sent out, they're wrong, that something else was sent out, we've adjusted that.
I'm gonna, if you wanna go ahead and take off.
Sure. Unfortunately, in these transitional situations, especially at year end, the transition is very difficult because the outgoing incumbent has to close out the year typically, and typically that won't happen until January, end of January typically. So most of the year-end financials don't go to the new company. So we're pretty much at the mercy, if you will, of the incumbent, the older company. Your assessments and so forth will continue to go to the older company, PSI in this situation. So everything you've been sending in is still going to PSI. Everything is then transferred over during the course of January. If you have sent the payment into PSI in that situation, those ledger balances will all come over to Advantage in January.
Can you not have any like late dues in January?
That's up to the board to decide, but my understanding is there's going to be leniency because of this, so that late fees should not be incurred. And the reason that you got incorrect coupon booklets was because there was still some uncertainty as to the percentages, whether your assessments are going up or not. Your budget, you didn't have an approved budget for 2013. So basically the board had to make a decision as to whether to carry forward the 2012 budget with those assessments still in place, or to make some sort of projected increase or decrease in the assessments. You all should be getting a statement or statements with an explanation that basically for the first quarter of 2013, your assessments will be the same as 2012. Then dependent upon whether there's an approved 2013 budget that differs one way or another from the 2012, you'll get new coupon booklets. If it's not done first quarter, it would go, the 2012 assessments would go on indefinitely until there is a new budget.
So then my concern would be that, so PSI is still collecting the fees, correct? So
yes,
I have an auto
correct.
pay with PSI,
Correct.
and now I'm paying them, and I'm paying
No.
ACM, or they're stopped now?
Whatever,
What's the transition there?
whatever goes to PSI would be transferred over. So if you send a January payment to PSI, that would be transferred over when all of the transfers come over.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's auto pay, so if it's automatically coming out and I'm setting up.
Right, you
You know
will
what I
not be, no, you would not be double booked, if you will. The payment the auto pay payment to PSI is the only payment that would come out. And then that ledger balance would be transferred to Advantage until at some point that, in February, that the payment would be going to Advantage and that.
So that's where I screwed up already, because I've already sent a payment to ACM on a coupon and been deducted from PSI. So now I've made two for January, and I would imagine the same thing happens in February, until you say this PSI thing stops.
Well, the PSI thing stops next week, number one. The thing is, in any transition, the incumbent keeps the account open until most checks, bills, invoices have cleared in a certain period of time. And right now, the problem we had was getting the new bank accounts set up and the ACH arrangement set up. February, that should not be a problem. But whatever has transpired, if you're due a credit, you
That
will
doesn't
get.
matter, I don't care if I double pay, as long as it's all cleared up in the books.
Oh, yeah, yes, and you'll get on a monthly basis, financial statements showing exactly what has happened, ledger balances. So if you paid PSI in January and you also paid Advantage, you'll have both of those payments credited to your account. If for whatever reason you don't want to have that second payment still outstanding, we can credit that back to you in the form of a credit and or a refund.
I figured it was something.
Les, would you talk to them about postage, emailing, communication, and how in your welcome packet you, in return of homeowner information, you would like to try to get an email account so that way we can cut down on paper.
Yeah, we're very electronically minded, if you will. We try to have most, if not all, of our communications go via electronic email or whatever. We have a website, which I believe you should be aware of in the welcome packet, where you can actually go on that website. This is not the website that you currently have for towns. This is the Advantage website. And each homeowner has their own account and their password ID. You can go in there to find out what your account balance is, if you've got duplicate payments, anything pertaining to your account.
Yeah, it already works, I mean.
Yeah, it was in it.
So you can access that information. And then instead of mailing a lot of notices and whatever else, we try to do the majority of our communications via electronic mail. So it's really critical if we can get everyone's email information, because that's the way we prefer. And by doing that, of course, we cut down on the postage. I don't know how PSI was set up, but my understanding is they didn't hone in on the electronic communication as much as we do. We push it very, very hard. I think most of the, we now have all of the files from PSI. We have all of the information that we need, but it's still a matter of inputting all of that information. You have a lot of owners who no longer live here, who are absentee owners and/or renters. They don't get the information at this address, so we've had of the 180, approximately 180 welcome packages that went out, approximately 30 have come back. So we have to call, we have to research to find out how to contact. Where are you now? How do we get in touch with you? Send it out again. So there's going to be a delay during the month of January. But February, we should be going full speed ahead. You've got ACH, you've got debit, you've got credit card ability as far as paying your payments. Anyone here can check their own accounts, as I said. There's a bunch of information that you can access on the website.
Does anyone have any more questions for Mr. Shaw?
Will we be able to make payments from the website? Okay, because I didn't see an area to do that, maybe it just wasn't enabled.
Yeah, it says pay your assessment, pay your bill,
Okay.
and just go to that. Yeah, you can do it, as I said, via debit card or credit card. And if you go on there and you see a discrepancy or something you don't agree with, you can contact the company through the website or, of course, call.
Les, do you need any of the board members to assist you in going through all the files and the paperwork that you picked up from PSI?
I will contact you with any discrepancies that we come up with or any questions we come up with. As I said, I picked up 4 boxes of files today.
That's good.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
We've got 3 people inside that are working on just inputting data, trying to call back those packages that came back to us. So again, it's not, no transition is easy. No transition is smooth, as everyone knows. But I think by February, we should be in pretty good shape.
Any more? Okay. So as you all have gotten a pretty good update on the transition, that's pretty accurate with everything I've been here as well. For the budget, as I said earlier, I like to work, in quarters. I would like to see something in place for us by March, whether we've negotiated contracts and we're thinking, okay, hey, what we currently have in place is going to be viable, whether we're going to be able to save some money. A lot of that dictates on our insurance. As some of you all do know, we were negotiating insurance. The insurance company that we were negotiating with was broke. He gave us a bid that were concerning. And since his changes, and in the past few months, their fee that they give us has now raised substantially.
Have you got a new quote yet?
I have not received a new quote. However, he did send an email basically stating, hey, this is what has gone on. Our company that we give you the quote from has made some new changes. Therefore, what we currently have in place is not what I can offer you from your last quote. Go ahead, sir.
Typically, the way insurance quotes and proposals and agents work and brokers, everything's based on your declarations. all the insurance companies will look at your declarations to determine exactly what it is that the declarations require. That doesn't mean that you can't or shouldn't get more than that. And oftentimes that's a really detailed process. In other words, your individual insurance typically will cover the interior of the units to the drywall. Some will go to what is named as the shell. So there are a lot of factors. Are there fire stops in between the wall? I mean, there are a lot of things that have to be considered. Unfortunately, the proposal and or quote that was presented a couple of months ago was not, the interpretations were not accurate. So therefore, the quote was considerably lower than what you're currently paying. So some of the savings you thought you were going to get are not going to be there, and I've talked to at least 3 other brokers. They're all going to be around the same dollar amount, so there's not going to be a substantial cost savings in the insurance.
Are we currently insured?
Yes, yes, all we were doing was shopping.
I got you. I just,
Our
somebody had told me that we lost our insurance company or
Oh,
something.
no.
The insurance that we had in place had not been revised since the association took over. So, you know, some people took it upon themselves, me being one of them, started shopping. I thought we could find some pretty good stuff out there. I'm not an insurance guy, so my interpretations, obviously, you know, in this situation, were incorrect. That's why we have 5 people's eyes instead of 1 person's eyes.
A lot of the insurance companies, or the way our insurance was written, was actually, it kind of helped the builder too. Originally, when they built all these units, because we had stuff on there, we still do, workers' comp, we have other stuff in there that we don't have employees. There's certain, if you sit there and read every single line item, that proposal or insurance declaration, there's stuff in there that there's no way we'd ever use that insurance. So that's the breakdown now. I mean, it's a lot of stuff, we don't have the builder anymore, they walked. So we need to look at it.
The big thing was that
To take away
coverage of
that-
the buildings.
Yeah, to take away the builder.
The shell versus.
Yep.
Hey, Mark, you said you have insurance, that you've worked with insurance companies and stuff. So that might be something that maybe we can turn over to Mark and let Mark, you can pursue different insurance companies if the board members would agree to that.
That's fine, I'll get some bids.
Maybe you can work with Les on what he's.
Yeah,
seen and
typically the
stuff like
way
that.
it works, there are certain carriers, insurers, who specialize in condominium associations, townhome associations, single-family associations. The majority of their business, and it changes all the time. Travelers might be for 2 or 3 years really after the association market, townhome market. Philadelphia. There are basically a half a dozen carriers who specialize in this area. They become competitive because they want the business or whatever reason. And then you have a group of brokers who represent these carriers. And again, as I said, you've got basically a half a dozen. It doesn't make sense to go to 4, 5, or 6 brokers to get competitive quotes. You basically should go to 2 or 3 brokers and allow them to then go out and get the best deals amongst their carriers. You were with Travelers, you are now with Philadelphia until April. And typically, your current broker, which is Rosenthal, about 60 days prior to expiration, they will be shopping your policy around. What the board needs to do is, and the community, is determine the current coverage we have, if it's because it was required by the developer. Maybe you don't need everything that's on there currently, and you may want to reduce and or eliminate certain coverages. That's probably unless a carrier, for whatever reason, is aggressively pursuing this market. You can get a cost reduction there. But the bottom line is that you're paying approximately $40,000 or $43,000 a year currently. And the the cost savings that was presented cannot be attained. You're going to probably be in the $30,000 and or up range regardless of what you do.
Our current insurance company might be adequate if we eliminate items that.
Oh, all of these companies are A+ rated.
They're all three
great
brokers,
companies.
they're all shopping the same six
Right.
insurance companies. The deals they work are only gonna be very minimal.
Right. Right.
Right.
So who do we have as an expert to review the pieces of the puzzle that we need to include? Mark, is the guy?
I can look at the line items. I mean, I do it constantly every day. So, that's your
And that's the one place we don't wanna shortchange ourselves.
Plus your broker.
Susan can call out and break an anchor or something.
You're exactly right. And the thing is the brokers go in and go through our declaration.
Right.
And that's the problem. When the quote that I got from Mr. Paulson, I give him my declaration. He went to, I think it was bare walls. He said bare walls. However, our declaration says shed. There's,
No, it was the opposite. Yeah, it was, yeah.
so there was
We need
a substantial difference there. And that's where our shortfall was. You know, needs vocabulary, so.
The other thing that comes into play is your loss run. How many claims you've had over the last 3 to 5 years. The more claims you've had, higher dollar amount, higher your premium.
We've only had a few.
Right, but I'm just saying that's another determining factor. So basically, your declarations, your loss runs, and what your requirements are is going to be what you're going to pay for.
You got any more questions? Okay. So that's the situation with the insurance and the budget. The insurance was going to be a big play in decreasing assessments. So give us a little bit of time, get some more proposals, and hopefully by that point we'll have a fine-tuned budget for everyone to come to board.
10 and 12%.
I think comfortably with what insurance numbers I read, I'd say 10% is going to be it. And you're looking at, I think 12% was around $20,
Right.
and 10% is like 17 something.
I looked at it.
So,
Because I think originally it was like 5%, and then but we have to think about the landscaping, because
correct.
that was greatly reduced, and that, he went
Right.
up.
I can't give you an accurate number, but I want to say just our snow removal contract was around $5,000 to $10,000 cheaper than last year. It may have been more. I don't have the numbers in front of me to give you an accurate number. So
It was about 10,000.
I think it'd be worthwhile to poll the community to see if it's worth the $10, or do we keep the $10 in the kitty by bushes and trees and whatever.
Because
You
once
know, our buildings are starting now. I don't know how old the oldest buildings are. But they, you know, at 12 to 15 years, we're looking at roofs and caulking and all kinds of stuff. So
this number that we're cutting is from what we've had in excess. So it's only pulling away from the excess, not from our operating or our reserve budget. So yeah, it could help beautify it, which that's what we did when we did purchase all of the stuff, September timeframe. So, yeah, very well to survey or a poll to see where individuals want to stand. I know there are
They
some.
did the reserve study, and we're really right on, which I was surprised, because I thought we had underfunded our reserves, but we were kind of right on with the reserves, so, and we're not cutting back the reserves. So,
I think the only other thing we do have to seriously contemplate in with that though too is, once we find an attorney, what we're going to be paying for an attorney, because we don't have those numbers yet either too. So, I mean,
Right.
there's several factors.
All of
these
it
are all
tallies
things
up.
we have to work on together.
Talking about decks, I want to hit on that real quick because I know that was mentioned. Who here had deck repairs? Okay. You've received a bill from PSI. That bill, I didn't authorize that. And I don't think at any point any of us had made that call for them to send a bill out on the 28th of December when their contract ended January 1st. If you paid it, we'll track the money down. If you have not paid it, wait until you see something from us. We put a significant timetable on that to collect the funds. So no one here should have a concern for paying what the requested amount was at this time. We are looking at doing the remainder of the decks that need to be repaired. So if you are in the construction business and you would like to give a bid, we are open-minded. So on the decks, I had a question for you, Les, about point of contact information. On the website, I can get a hold of you through the website, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you are familiar with the website and you need to get a hold of him, you don't have to reach him personally.
Right.
Okay.
You really don't need to talk to me personally. As an example, if you've got an accounting question, if you can't get it answered on the website, call the main number and just ask for accounting, because that's what I have to do if you call me. So rather than me say, I don't know, call them directly and get the answer specifically. We do have a 24/7 emergency number. If there's a fire or whatever emergency, you can call that number. They will contact me or the fire department, the police department, or whomever needs to be contacted. If you have a question that's not answered via one of those means, then you can call me or leave a message. I check the voicemail downtown 2 or 3 times a day. Typically, I'll get back to you within 24 hours. So if it's an accounting question, go directly to the accounting department. And or the website might be able to answer a lot of it.
Okay. Moving on. Next meeting. This is kind of a whim. I would like to have our next meeting on the 6th. Hopefully by that point we can have an attorney lined up. February 6th. And on the 27th, since we are trying to push the budget to be done by the end of the quarter, that gives us 3 weeks separation, about 2 weeks separation.
Do you have a building set up for those?
I do not believe we
John?
do,
Okay.
so we'll get on that.
Okay.
And on the 6th of March, I'd like to have our drop dead day for determination of budget. All of these are on Wednesdays.
February 6th, 26th, and March 6th.
26th, 27th, and 6th.
February 6th.
February 6th.
27th,
Yeah, okay.
6th.
All right. Newsletter. Newsletter. I know, as I said earlier, I'd like for us to all start seeing a newsletter. I would kind of like to have every one of us kind of have a section or an area of interest, or some type of literature that they would like to put. I would like to keep it minimal, front and back mailing, giving us the opportunity of current events, things that we're discussing, things that are going on, talking about, spring is here, let's prepare water reimbursement if we're going to do that this year, things like that. So there's going to be some off-time communication amongst us, so that way we all have an idea of what's going on. I would like that to go out no later than the 27th, or be finalized, so that way we can get it in the mail March 1st.
So theoretically, Les is setting up this whole email situation. Why even have a mailer? I mean, why not do it electronically?
It's
Some people
something
don't have email. Unfortunately, not 100% have email.
It's something that I would like to give John the opportunity to post, so that it's not just a monotonous homepage. It gives him to give something out, and the individuals that we don't have on a mailer, the individuals we don't have an email, we can send a mailer out to. Not everybody's informed about these meetings. As he said earlier, there's a lot of people that don't even live here anymore. So it gives us the opportunity to reach out to them once we get current contact information. I would like to do a social function. And being that we are in the second week of January, I think the next major holiday for some is Easter. I don't know if you all practice that. Maybe we could do an Easter egg hunt for the children. I know there are quite a few kids in the community that's in the homes, in our townhomes, and in the villas. Outlaw Art is a great area for something like that.
I would try.
I know it is
It's
difficult.
not, you can't do
No.
that.
You don't think so?
There's a lot of seniors, number one, without kids, and then you're just pinpointing one group of the community.
But what we could do is we could just do it as a
Religious
spring,
faith, too,
it
and I
could
don't
just be
like
a
that either.
spring hunt or something, you know, you could just do a spring egg hunt or something. It doesn't have to be named Easter,
Yeah, I agree.
so it's not religious, and that way at least we open it up to everybody and. And you could have.
Egg hunt.
My daughter's 3 and I don't
But doesn't,
Yeah.
Volo have it?
They do.
Or spring, yeah,
They do, but it
whatever.
pulls people out to Outlaw. There's a lot of trees out here.
Well, we can think about it, we can brainstorm, because that's just off the.
And if any of you have any ideas, just seriously contact one of the board members
Well,
with
there's,
ideas.
I know I had volunteered for the social committee.
Right.
I don't know who else, if anyone else did, but the one idea we had was maybe like chili cook-off.
Mhm.
Maybe in like April or May.
I don't want to be.
What do you say? There's vegan chili.
There's stuff is in there.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll help with social stuff, I can do that.
Oh, there you go, you
Okay.
can do, John, there's
I'm
another.
good at that
So newsletter, social idea,
stuff.
treasure report.
Touch on the budget just for one quick second. I don't know if everyone understands the budget process. Basically, it's based on your current year's budget, your year-to-date expenditures, and the projection as to what the year-end expenditures will be. And then for the coming year, your anticipated capital improvements or any other increases and/or decreases. Put that together, and then it has to go out to the ownership for 30-day review period. And any owner has the right to comment, question during that 30-day period. If in fact there are no questions or nothing is left unresolved, then the board votes on approval or on not approving that budget for the next year.
All right. John, would you like to give us webmaster's report?
We really need one more person to work on this. I don't want to be the only one that actually learns how to do it. I'm not a web designer, as told you guys that before. So, but I have, somewhat managed websites similar with similar tools, not the exact same one. Currently, I've been kind of testing, seeing how things work, but I'm not very good with it. We do have a 1-hour training session available to us that's already paid for.
Okay.
That's what my hesitation is I don't want to be the only one, during that presentation.
Right.
I would like one more person to learn with me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see a problem.
Take it with you on contact.
What is it that you need to learn?
All of the tools on there. There's that.
Is it like WordPress or something?
I've used WordPress. It's a little more complicated than WordPress. I can't even figure out how to post on the homepage.
If it's okay, I'll do it with them. That's what I do for a living. I'm an IT guy, but I'm not a web developer.
Beautiful, that'd be great.
Somebody else?
Yeah.
I'll help you with it.
Well, so is our class like per person, or is it just like a group, many people so we can get in there for $100?
No, it's already paid for.
So why not get?
Who's giving the class?
Whoever we purchased the website from.
So is it just like is it on at home computer based?
Honestly, I don't
You have
know.
no idea? Okay. I can research that and I can find out.
I know I do web hosting and stuff for people, but I can just. I don't like right sites and stuff. I
Yeah.
like right.
And what's your name?
I'm Dan Ritz, RYS.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So,
You can download me.
what are you seeing any traffic? Is there any movement?
There's very, very little. And it's not, because there's nothing out there yet.
There were 4 new people that requested for
Yeah.
Yeah, there have been quite a few people that have requested, and I have,
Are
as
you
far as I
able to
know,
approve
I
that?
have a current homeowners list, which, you know, every request that I get, I go through that list, make sure they're on there, and then approve. I don't know how old my list is.
Okay, all right. All right. As I had spoken earlier, the Master Association, unless pardon me for blindsiding you because I meant to bring it up to you earlier.
Oh, yeah, right.
And Nancy, maybe you can answer this question for me. Do you know of a point of contact other than PSI for the Master Association?
You know, it's like a little
I do.
mysterious little group.
Do you?
Pat Happ.
No?
Oh,
No,
she's-
that was when the builder was in
Yeah.
place.
They walk, but they don't even own the property out front.
Correct?
Really, they don't own the property that's right behind my house.
No.
No.
Well,
That
all right, no, hold
buildable lot
on.
that
The
was-
builder still owns
Yeah.
that, but the builder doesn't have a foundation anymore here. So when the builder moved, they turned everything over to the underlying, however, they still own the property though.
Right, I get it.
But they don't have any,
But do they plan on building, I'm sorry, that's
They
a
don't have
different
any
subject.
that's-
But
yeah.
Whatever, let's do, sorry.
We did try pretty aggressively to get to one of those meetings or to get to somebody. And we did have some email addresses.
Okay.
I can look.
I think there's contact information on the budget for 2013 that the master sent out though.
Isn't there,
About that.
isn't, like, just as
they're
our
supposed to be, it's, the Master is still ran by,
PSI and KSR.
correct. But we don't have a point of contact as far as who that set individual is. You know, yes, it might be Kathy Ryan, the president of PSI, and Nancy Hankins, who was our prior management company.
Right.
But as far as, no, and I don't even, I'm just,
As far as the board,
so don't quote me on that. But as far as a board member or an individual, I don't know. And for all I know, we're throwing out, you know, $60,000.
They did appoint like a violation committee at one point. In one of the past newsletters, it said that the Master Association had appointed homeowners to go through the neighborhood once every like month or quarter to point out violations. That's in one of the past newsletters.
I could probably look into that and get some more information on that.
So something happened with a few homeowners. If that, I mean, I kept all the old newsletters. I'm sure I could.
Now,
find.
now is this like, when you say old, are you saying within the last 6-7 months, or are you saying within like a year time?
The past like 5 years, there was a
Oh,
point
okay.
where we had newsletters and like one side said the town's on it, the other side said for the Master
Master,
Association.
yep.
On the master side, it said there was a committee appointed of homeowners in the homes and the villas and like across the road, and they were gonna like walk the neighborhood once a month to point out violations to submit to KSN.
Yeah, but I don't see too many people walking the neighborhood,
Right.
the ones that
But
are.
at some point, there was homeowners who were in contact with their Master Association to form a committee.
You know, I've talked to, I believe her name's Barbara, the president of the villas. Villas don't really, is that correct, Barbara? Georgia, that's right, Georgia. And, you know, our conversation, she didn't really have much information. So,
they have their own association, I mean, I understand that.
there's 3 associations.
They've established one,
Yeah.
and so the homes too?
The homes are still under their builder,
Got it.
which now the builder is back into place. So, so they are supposed to request to take over and formulate an association around the February timeframe. That's when it's open for negotiations. I would like to see our assessments to them drop significantly, because I don't know what they're doing to us. I'd like to see some type of financial statement or some type of budget of why we're giving them $58,000 a year.
He sent the budget out though, back in November.
Yeah.
Right.
But that happened this February?
Huh?
The Master Association is February?
It's supposed to be, but they're like I said,
Nobody's got anything in the.
right.
Because that's something people from the townhomes can be on, the
Mhm.
Master Association.
Right.
Now, are there like, two of the board members have to be from each group, or could it be all from
Well,
homes or all from
because-
the townhomes?
Because we are the largest shareholder in this association. The villas.
Right now.
Well, no, we still, our numbers still overturn the homes.
Really? Okay.
So this is just the way I would speculate it. I would assume that it would probably be a 5 to 7 board ran
It's
organization.
specified somewhere. I'm
Yeah,
trying
it's
to say
probably
it's in the
a
declaration
property, yeah.
that's
That's what-
specifically 211, you know,
Right.
it is specifically.
I have, don't believe I've read that, so. So to answer your question, does it have to be from the board?
Well, I'm just saying, we might want to make it aware to, like, whether it's a newsletter or email to people, everybody in the townhomes, that maybe in February, we might get information about positions being opening in the Mass Association,
Mhm.
so, you know, that we definitely want to get people from the townhomes on that, so.
Understood, yeah. Right on. I don't think I have anything else, other than, that was the last thing that I really had. Do you have anything else? Scott? Mark?
I'm here listening.
One last thing, Frank, I know everyone wants to go. This is the owner information sheet. Please, if you can, please fill that out as much as you can.
If you've done it online, you have to do it there.
No.
Because you can log into the web
Yeah,
portal and you can
yeah, if you've done it
stuff online.
in fact, I'd rather have you do it online.
Yeah, exactly.
There's one other thing that was in your packet. It's a text messaging ability if you want to take advantage of that strictly voluntarily, but it's just another means of communication whereby we could text urgent information or something you're really looking to find out. Texting is just another way of doing it. But you have to opt in, and of course you can opt out.
Okay. That's all that I currently have for everyone. The floor is open. So if you have anything, yes, sir.
Update on the bushes and the clay and things like that from the,
Nothing.
nothing?
I didn't do anything over the holidays.
That's why I was just
So,
curious.
as far as communication, I don't want to say that. Do you have contact with Corner? I know you talked to Nancy about Corner.
I had spoken with her just briefly, but then I was told just to let it go until,
Yeah.
once we first started meeting, so I would like to be able to maybe take over that part of it, and just at least discuss with them if you want me to,
Yeah.
since it's part of the treasure.
Well,
treasure stuff.
yeah, we'll address that. So. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
What's the general consensus as far as, you know, the way you guys are moving forward to actually get assessments lowered? I know you mentioned, obviously, the insurance sounds like it might be kind of a dud, I guess, but I mean, what else? I mean,
You're saving 20% on your management fee.
And we're getting a good management company.
The lawn care is
Cheaper.
proposals are cheaper than what we had in place. The snow removal is cheaper.
You're looking at reducing the Master Association keep fund.
If we can negotiate on this master, which is significant money, I think that it would be comfortable to say that 12% is not a bad number. However, that is going to have to be something that we're going to have to keep our feet on the ground with and hold somebody to the fires on to get some answers. Why are we paying this, and what are you doing with this money?
Mike, I had a thought when I was looking through the documents that we really need to know what the master's covering for insurance.
Yeah.
I think they cover the roofs, and you might need to look into what their
Okay.
insurance coverage is, because that.
In case they overlap. Gotcha, all right.
I haven't been around for a couple months, but, and I understand there's been some changes, so I'm not trying to open up any cans of worms or anything like that. But I thought, you know, the last meeting I was at, and this is again about a month and a half, 2 months ago, ago that the contract was, basically, it wasn't done yet, but it seemed like there was a contract about to be done with a landscaper and snow removal, so I thought that
It was primarily the snow removal where we were at.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That was a big issue for us, because we wanted to try to cut that cost as much. Now, with what we have in place, it's saving us because we're not getting any snow removed.
So what is the current status as far as snowplow company? Is just pay as it snows, or?
Well, what we did is we negotiated for November was by push. December, January, and February was by contract. And March was by push as well. So we're talking 18,000, somewhere around there is what we were gonna pay for 3 months. And then, November, we didn't get any snow. At that point, we didn't have a contract, so we didn't have to worry about that. And then March, February, March are kind of those periods that we don't know about, so.
And then as far as, is landscaping still kind of like a trial phase with?
We got a quote from Dreams. I know you came in late. We got a quote from Dreams Granted, and we currently have another quote from Paracone, and we just got a welcome package from another company today that has not been to the facility yet to give us an established quote. Their welcome package is pretty impressive, so we would like to have the opportunity to give it to them. Next meeting, we will establish something as far as that goes, which will be February 6th. Talk about budget. Mark brought in a deck proposal for the existing decks that need to be repaired. We're going to continue to look at those and make an assessment, and then see how many more we need to replace. The ones that we did, we agreed upon that there were 20 that needed to be done this season. Those were taken care of, and now we're moving forward with that. So that, construction is one of the budget trees that we are looking into this year, because we haven't made a lot of replacements, and there are some homes that do have some issues that need to be rectified. The middle units are missing gutters in some places, and so when you walk out your front door, you're getting a shower or things of that nature. So those are things that we do need to get bids for replacement. Exactly, extermination.
Contract for that.
Yep. There are things that we're trying to, so, does that answer your question?
Can you go back real quick to the plowing?
Okay.
During the winter now, how much is it per push? I know the contract is, but what's the push, Mike? How much is to put that little plow down?
The per push was gonna be, if we had 1 or 2 pushes, it was gonna go over the 5,800.
It was like for a 2-inch or 3-inch push was around $3,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3,200.
So because when we negotiated the by-month contract, it was equivalent to 2 pushes.
Okay. Then one more question about that.
Yep.
Salting wise.
In the past, we have always done salting by homeowner.
Okay.
They would issue out a 5-gallon bucket, and this year, we decided not to do that, because I got 2 buckets still sitting in my garage. I know there were some people that had excess buckets sitting in the garage. It was just one of those things that we figured we could hold off on.
Okay. It's more for it because the driveways, whatever, it's mostly the sidewalks. So I know, like, on our section, it's like ice capades. Come around the corner, you see the driveway's nice, but then you hit that sidewalk and you're gone. Okay.
So that's, the quote that we did get from Dreams Granted, salting, we could request that. So, and they did quote in there how much per square foot and all that.
You mean for them to salt or for us to get salt?
No, for them to salt. Like they would come out, like what we got over the weekend. Some of it was gone, but if we get icing that's an inch, that's significant. So.
Oh, heck yeah. Not on the same subject, are we off that subject now?
Yes.
Yeah. Just back to my question about that piece of property where there's a missing building.
Mm-hmm.
The builder owns that.
Yes.
Do they have plans to come back and build there?
not yet.
We don't know.
We don't, I mean, maybe you don't know.
Legally, that's up in the air. There's six units.
Yeah, supposed to be there. It's a
Correct.
6-unit building.
And there's no answer as to whether they are going to complete that or when they're going to complete that.
Is there any?
Are they required to complete it at any point in time? No.
Can we establish a time limit? Or
No.
can we buy it from them for $100 and put a mark on it?
Yeah.
Is there a discussion to acquire it?
Yeah.
I mean, if we
No,
go
you're right.
on
Go
it-
through and get a sign that says park and
Right,
shoot the
put a
ground, I
budget,
think we're
put
there.
trees in.
The thing about it is it's kind of like outlawed art. You know, when outlawed art was owned by the builders, well, we were doing the maintenance for it. So it pretty much turned into a quick claim deed saying, hey, we're paying the maintenance on this thing. So either you're gonna start paying us what we're doing or turn it over to us. That is something that we can address with the builder. What's your all's ideas? What would you all like to see in that open spot?
Well, there's
Little park.
Just maintenance of it. I mean, it's at the entrance of our subdivision.
It is
It's not being
nasty,
maintained.
and you're absolutely right, it is nasty. And it is a safe haven for the dog food right now, so.
Would we maintain it
There
like
are
we
some
do?
of us that if, it'd be nice if there was a playground there, so you don't have to cross Molador to go to that other dinky little playground.
That's insurance.
I know, well, I'm,
Yeah,
but
unfortunately,
still.
that is one thing that we do have to consider, because it has, a playground has been considered before and talked about before.
It has.
And unfortunately, you know what, the liability, think about it this way, if one child falls off and breaks an arm or something,
Yeah.
the liability for our association is gonna be huge.
Because the one on the other side
Great,
of the
though.
street is actually Volo.
Mhm.
It's a
Right.
Volo park,
Right.
playground in the development. 'Cause
So-
Volo
so-
maintains it.
So would you say, put a request in through Volo for a playground, or are you
They
saying,
might.
should we budget for a playground? We could put a
Well,
request.
yeah, I mean,
think
just
Volo-
something to look at,
Put
because,
like one of those mandatory stop crosswalks across.
yes, we definitely
No.
need a crosswalk.
I know, Margaret and I were talking, Margaret
They look better than it is
We
now.
can make money for the board.
Frank,
Nice and
Margaret and I were talking about creating, a survey committee.
Right.
And we send out surveys to see what people want to do, for that, outlet art and other things. I think we could definitely pursue that.
Because that is right in our regular.
Yeah, I think the first step we did with Outlet R was the board made a decision whether they're going to maintain it, not how much it was going to cost to cut
Right.
it and stuff. Is that something the board wants to make a decision about this area, if you want to maintain it?
It needs to totally be redone. And
We
so,
pay for that or will the builders pay for that?
Right.
and that's one of the things that we're gonna have to address.
Yeah, my guess is the park thing's not gonna happen, even if you do ask the village, because it's so close to that main area right there.
where people whip around that
Yeah,
corner
yeah.
really
Oh,
fast.
Yes.
Only one stop.
They do.
But so maybe the next board meeting or something, we can have a decision whether we're just even going to maintain it or not?
Yeah.
And
Well,
it would.
that's kind of I'm not personally wanting to let it go and
Because
just grow.
The landscapers gave like a separate amount for maintaining Outlet R, like it'd be this
Right.
much extra.
Right.
Could they do that with this area here? This is smaller than Outlet R.
Mhm.
Then we can keep track of it, so that.
Isn't there's even more land that we don't even own, that middle
The
part.
center, that's outlawed art, yeah, that's what they're
It's
talking
not
about.
ours, right?
Yeah.
That's our,
Oh,
It is now?
Yeah.
It is now?
yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
That
pretty much
could
you gotta
be
get
a
all
park.
dug up anyway.
Because
Yeah,
it's-
no, you're absolutely right.
There is no grass technically there.
Looks like a giant septic field, honestly.
Any questions? Anything else?
I had something I just needed to turn into you guys, because I didn't know who to email about before with all the reseeding, blah, blah, blah. When they came in and they backhoed ours out, the water cap, they busted ours off and we have this sharp, jagged.
Are you talking about PVC cap?
No, it's that.
I got one too, it's missing half the, they
What?
pretty much hit the
With the,
back.
when they backhoed it, they.
I missed my whole top of my
And
water.
so it's sticking out of the ground like
You're
this
talking about the
in
blue
the
pipe.
cap.
No,
Yes, the blue.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
give us your information.
Right,
We'll get-
and so, because we're concerned about with the kids.
I
and
saw
all
all
of
of
that.
that.
I give over all the time.
Got it.
That's what she was saying.
Yeah, mine's
Concerned with the
bad.
kids.
Right.
Well, I got 3.
Yeah, well, and we're right there, and then
So
between all of our
Kids
units.
trip over it or you?
Both.
Yeah.
Well,
She was talking to you too then.
from my house to your house, there's 4 families with kids.
Yeah.
Either
And we're all right in there.
Now we're gonna have more, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
Now we're gonna have more.
just to let you know, that is something that we're gonna have to address this coming year with the town, because even myself, ours sticks out probably this far, and we've even built it up with even clay and stuff, and I've tripped over it, and even our whole along Waverly Drive, if you go along there, there are so many that are sticking far out of the ground, and they're not supposed to be there, they're supposed to be flush, so that's
Well,
something
it
we
used
have
to
to look at.
kind of be flush,
Yeah.
but when they dug it out to redo the thing,
Exactly.
and they put the topsoil down, and now it's sticking up. My biggest concern is just that it's dangerous because
It's
it's broken.
very
Okay.
dangerous.
And
It's like a periscope.
I don't know why. You know, the county should be out, or should replace it.
It belongs to.
I would say so.
It is city.
yeah, because it's infrastructure.
Got it. All right, thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
Everybody has a chipmunk problem, I always thought too.
Brain down.
Yeah.
Well, they had a chipmunk problem. I won't tell you how I got rid of my last one, but I got rid of it.
Are we able to get copies of blueprints for you?
Yeah, do you want to?
I'm sorry.
Are we able to get a
I don't
copy
think
for a blueprint? No.
Oh,
Is that something like the board we have on file? or
You're talking about a floor plan of your home?
Like,
you mean like where the electrical is, where the plumbing is?
yeah, like they used to build.
I got one in my closing package. I think.
Okay. But is it not? What direction?
Maybe you have to call town controls or CAM, because they probably.
No, we're not.
I was actually
I had
gonna
friends who made it to some of the
Yeah, well.
Does anybody have anything else?
Right, if it's the mirror. Half for one side or half for the other. Maybe actually change house mouse build. You open the back, some of the flat backs, all the years and stuff.
But that's also dependent on.
Just one quick ask, quick question.
Okay.
And I just, that would be receiving the newsletter. They don't spend any postage for that. Also like an
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And then you can look and see what it's like.
Take care. Yep.
That's what we can get, okay?
So you received it in the back like that?
It's receiving and then.
Do I?
That's a wonderful idea.
Exactly, and no one spends money, they doing it for themselves.
Wasn't it nice? Yeah, it was actually very nice. Very informative. Sorry. Thank you, Basha, for bringing that in.
I never wanted to bring this up.
Well, just take that, just fill that out.
Hey, Scott.
I feel like, with everything that's going on.
Yeah, just fill this out. You may have that already. Just fill that out, send it to and make changes. Thank you.
Are we gonna do that, is that part of what we're gonna do? But also, with that said, we made one way to take that. Yeah, okay. And it's like, you go ahead.
Why don't you just wait? You're not gonna get a late fee.
A lot of different.
And then we'll have it automatically. Okay, so just send that in to us.
Can I extend
We'll
my?
have it set up in the next couple of days. And then you just make your payment like end of next week.
You have a common elements area that is limited.
Because you're not gonna get a late fee. Oh, no, I'm sorry, okay, I'm sorry.
Or just take it down.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes. Hey, thanks, Barbara.
I don't know who that is.
We do have that. However,
Yeah, you can make it. I was maybe
so if you
Just send that in.
I want to try to stay as simple as possible. I mean, if your whole building says, hey, let's do a wraparound deck, my building will work out.
Sure.
But,
No, my building probably might say that.
yeah.
You know, I mean,
You may have somebody in the office, I don't remember what was it about?
Yeah, exactly. He had something smart.
I think he did. What's your question?
Call Clint.
I'm just saying, it's just something I thought about.
I want to watch you say it.
Oh, yes,
No, I got you. Yeah.
During this transition, will automatically.
I got a deck. I hate this. I have a deck. You know, I'm into DeSoto. I'm into DeSoto. No, I agree, and I understand. You know,
Any payments, every payment. Whether it's with the
they stick it all the way around. You know, because, you know, the concrete.
Yeah, it'll be, and again, if you ever have a question, you want something, and it doesn't show the thing.
It looks nice.
Which one, this, the whole package?
I don't know, the elderly lady, the blonde.
Yes.
She's over on Prescott, and when you make that turn onto Prescott, she's the first building.
Okay? And if you have a question, just call. If it's about accounting and payments, just ask for accounting. And
Les is a good guy.
That might get it.
Yeah, no, I walk up there all the time.
Still kind of lady. I know. You're right, thank you.
I'll report from.
All right, Scott. Hey, we need to vote this.
Yeah. And if you have questions, like I said, just.
Anybody want to say?
No, sounds good to me.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
I'm sorry, I couldn't provide a show.
I'll just call.
I know it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Don't get mad.
Thank you.
I kind of missed it.
Thanks for all your help here.
All signers?
Like a normal meeting.
Like the.
Well, you noticed what was in the back of the room.
I-E-M-E-R-S.
The officer was in the back of the room. Yeah.
Wait, didn't he leave early?
When was the last meeting? The last meeting was, what was it? Where? Where? It was over at the. Yeah, the other one before that?
Was he here for that?
That was all. And the other one before that?
Oh, really?
It was over there too.
And,
I thought that's where we were all. That's why I was late. I was standing over there.
Scott, is that your camera?
I mean, I saw him, but I didn't know that.
Anyways, later. Nice job. All right, cool.
Oh, God, you know the right thing before I leave.
All right, thank you.
We're supposed to still learn as we get older?